By me, 38 years old. Senior systems architect at a mid-sized logistics firm. Title is senior architect. Reality is the guy who knows where the bodies are buried. Been here 15 years. Started when the server room was a closet, and the cooling system was a desk fan pointed at an open rack. Built the core routing engine CRE from scratch. It's a monstrosity of C++, raw SQL, and some assembly wrappers for hardware interrupts. It's ugly. It has no GUI. It runs entirely on command line arguments and config files. But it processes 50,000 shipping manifests per second with 2 ms latency. Bus factor equals 1. If I get hit by a bus, the supply chain for the entire tri-state area collapses within 4 hours. I ask for nothing. Drive a 2005 Honda Accord. Wear the same 3 black hoodies on rotation. Drink terrifyingly strong black coffee from a stained mug that says, "I hate Mondays," ironic. I hate every day equally. My office is in the basement, next to the server farm. No windows, just the hum of the HVAC and the blinking green lights of the racks. I like the hums. The hum is honest. The hum doesn't lie about synergy. The hum doesn't schedule 9 a.m. stand-ups to discuss feelings. Life is good. Life is quiet. Until she arrives. Enter the antagonist. Jessica, new VP of Digital Transformation. External hire from some failed social media startup. Resume is full of words like evangelist, holistic, paradigm shift, and disruptor. She doesn't walk, she struts. High heels clicking on the linoleum like a countdown timer to disaster. First week, she comes down to the basement. Wrinkles her nose at the smell of ozone and old coffee. This environment is oppressive, she says. I don't look up from my monitors. 3 screens, 1 tailing logs, 1 displaying the kernel load, 1 with a terminal open. It's a server room, I say. It's a silo, she corrects. We need to break down silos. We need to democratize the data. I have no idea what that means. Data isn't a democracy. Data is a dictatorship of ones and zeros. If a bit is wrong, the checksum fails and the packet drops. The packet doesn't get to vote on its validity. I'm scheduling a department-wide sync, she announces. I can't make it, I say. Database migration scheduled for Tuesday morning. We'll move the migration, culture comes first. I finally look at her. She has that gleam in her eye. The gleam of someone who thinks cloud is a magical place where computers don't exist. If I move the migration, we risk a deadlock during the Wednesday peak load, I say calmly. You're being negative, she smiles, a shark smile. We need a growth mindset. The meetings start. 8 a.m. daily stand-ups. 10 a.m. synergy sync. 1 p.m. vision boarding. 3 p.m. retrospective on the vision boarding. My productivity drops to 0. The CRE needs maintenance. It needs log rotation, index rebuilding, cache clearing. I do it all at night now, unpaid, just to keep the lights on. Jessica introduces Project Nimbus. The plan to replace my CRE. The CRE is legacy, she declares in a town hall meeting. It's a black box, it's exclusionary, only one person understands it. She points at me. Everyone looks at the guy in the hoodies. We are going to rebuild the routing engine using modern, inclusive technologies, she says. Serverless, no-code, AI-driven. I raise my hand. The latency requirements for the warehouse scanners are under 100 milliseconds, I say. If you go serverless, the cold start times alone will cause the scanners to time out. We'll use warmers, she waves her hand. The throughput is 50K transactions a second, I add. Cloud native scales infinitely, she recites from a brochure. Physics doesn't, I mutter. She ignores me. She hires a consultancy firm. Digital Frontier. Bunch of 22-year-olds in skinny jeans who think JavaScript is the only programming language. They deploy a team of 30 developers. I am told to onboard them. I try to explain the database schema. It's highly normalized, optimized for write speed. They stare at me blankly. Why don't you just use MongoDB, one asks. Because we need ACID compliance, I say. If a shipment is lost, we get sued. SQL is so boomer tech, he whispers to his colleague. I go back to my caves. I document everything. Every email, every warnings, every time I explain why an N2 loop on the main thread will crash the system. I print them out. I keep a physical binder. Paranoid maybe. Necessary absolutely. 3 months pass. Project Nimbus is a disaster. They have built a beautiful dashboard. Lots of rounded corners, gradients, and animations. It looks great on an iPad. It consumes 4 GB of RAM to display a list of 10 trucks. The backend is a spaghetti mess of microservices calling other microservices. A single request takes 4 seconds. The current system takes 0.002 seconds. I write a formal risk assessment. Subject: critical performance failures in Project Nimbus. I detail the latency issues, the lack of transactional integrity, the fact that they are storing passwords in plain text in the logs. I send it to Jessica, the CTO, and the CEO. Next day, meeting with HR and Jessica. Anon, we feel you aren't a culture fit, Jessica says. Your email was toxic, HR adds. It was a technical assessment, I say. It was gatekeeping, Jessica says. You're trying to hoard knowledge, you're threatened by the new team. I'm threatened by the fact that the company will go bankrupt if that code goes live, I say. See, HR notes something on a pad, combativeness. We're going to have to put you on a PIP, Jessica says. Performance improvement plan. The corporate way of saying, we're firing you in 30 days, but we need a paper trail. The goal of the PIP: support the launch of Project Nimbus without negativity. I look at Jessica. I look at the HR lady. I realize something. I stopped fighting. A strange calm washes over me. The stoic acceptance of the inevitable entropy of the universe. Okay, I say. Okay, Jessica looks surprised. I will support the launch. I will do exactly what you ask. Malicious compliance mode engaged. The weeks leading up to launch. I answer every question literally. Does the API accept JSON? Yes. I don't mention it parses it incorrectly. Can we deploy this on Friday? It is physically possible to deploy on Friday. I don't mention that Friday deployments are suicide. I stop fixing the background issues. I stop the nightly maintenance scripts on the old CRE. I let the old system degrade slightly, just enough to make them desperate for the new one. But mostly I check my contract. I dig out the paper copy from 15 years ago. Back when the company was 3 guys in a garage. I was a contractor then. The specific clause, intellectual property created by the contractor, anon prior to full-time employment, remains the property of the contractor, licensed to the company on a revocable, non-exclusive basis. The core routing library CRL. The math behind the routings. I wrote that on a weekend asterisk before I signed my full-time offer. It's never been updated. It's a compiled binary blob that the rest of the system calls. They don't have the source code. They never asked for it. They just assumed it belonged to them. The Digital Frontier kids couldn't figure out the math, so they just wrapped my binary in a Node.js wrapper. They are still using my code. My property. Revocable. 2 weeks before a high noon. High noon is Black Friday. The biggest shipping day of the year. Volume triples. Jessica wants Nimbus live for Black Friday. It will be a triumph, she tells the board. A new era of digital logistics. I am in the background nodding. Are we ready, Anon? The CEO asks me. I look at Jessica. Jessica has assured us that all acceptance criteria are met, I say. I am just here to facilitate her vision. The CEO buys it. Jessica beams. She thinks she's broken me. She thinks she's won. 1 week before launch, I get called into HR again. We've decided to accelerate your transition, Jessica says. We want Nimbus to launch with a fresh team, no legacy baggage. They are firing me before the launch, so I can't claim credit or so they can save my salary. Doesn't matter. We'll need you to sign this separation agreement. HR slides a paper across. Standard NDA, non-disparagement. In exchange for 2 weeks severance. I laugh. I'm not signing that. Then you get nothing, Jessica says cold. Fine, I say. I pack my box. my mug, my mechanical keyboard. I walk out. I drive home. I sit in my dark living room. I open my laptops. I draft a registered letter. To the legal department. Subject notice of revocation of IP license. Pursuant to Clause 7A of the Service Agreement dated 2009. I hereby revoke the license for the core routing library, CRL binary effective immediately upon termination of my employment. Cease and desist all use of the software immediately. I mail it. Then I wait. Black Friday, 0800 a.m. I am sitting on my couch, drinking coffee, watching the stock ticker, watching the industry news. The company switches over to Nimbus. Jessica posts on LinkedIn. So proud of my team, digital transformation girl boss tech. 0805 a.m. First reports of slow loading times. 0815 a.m. The digital frontier dashboard crashes. 0830 a.m. The warehouse scanners go dark. 0900 a.m. Total gridlock. Trucks are lining up at the depots. They can't print manifests. They can't route packages. The AI-driven routing logic is sending trucks to the wrong states, or sending them into the ocean. The Node.js wrappers are choking. But the real kicker. My lawyer called their legal department at 8:30 a.m. He informed them that running the CRL binary is now a copyright violation, and that we will sue for $100,000 per infringement, since the system calls the binary 50 times a second. You do the math. 10:00 a.m. My phone rings. It's the CIO. I let it go to voicemail. 10:05 a.m. Phone rings again. CTO. Voicemail. 10:15 a.m. Jessica calls. I answer. Anon, you need to come in, she sounds frantic. Her voice is an octave higher than usual. I don't work there, I say. The system is down, everything is down, we're losing millions. Sounds like a synergy problem, I say. This isn't funny, you sabotaged us. I did nothing, I say. I left, you fired me, you declared my code legacy. We need the keys, we need to revert to the old system. The old system uses the CRL, I say. So I own the CRL and I revoke the license. Silent. What do you want? Put the CAO on. 11:00 a.m. I am on a conference call. CEO, head of legal Jessica and me. This is extortion, the lawyer says. It's contract law, I reply. Clause 7A, you drafted it, you just didn't think I'd read it. The CDO sighs, he sounds 10 years older. Anon, the trucks aren't moving, we are bleeding 500K an hour, how do we fix this? Option A, I say, you rewrite the routing logic from scratch, should take the code monkeys about 6 months, based on their current velocity. We don't have 6 months, we don't have 6 hours. Option B, I continue, you hire me back as an external consultant. Fine, Jessica snaps, come back, we'll pay your hourly rate. No, I interrupt. Consultants set their own rates. What's the rate, the CEO asks. 200% of my previous annual salary, as a retainer, paid up front, wire transfer. That's insane, Jessica yells. Plus, I add, an hourly rate of $500 for actual work performed. And I pause for effect. I want full autonomy. The IT department reports to me. No VPs of transformation, no agile coaches, just engineers. You can't demand that, Jessica says. I just did. The silence stretches. In the background, I can hear someone shouting in the war room. We just lost the Walmart contract. The CEO speaks. Done. And Jessica, I ask. Jessica is leaving the company to pursue other opportunities, the CEO says flatly. I'm right here, Jessica screams. Not anymore, the CEO says, get out of the office. 12:00 p.m. The wire transfer hits my account. It's a beautiful number. Lots of zeros. I put on my hoodies. I drive to the office. The parking lot is chaos. Drivers yelling, horns honking. I walk into the lobbies. Jessica is being escorted out by security with a box of her things. She looks at me. Mascara running. You're a dinosaur, she spits. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for 165 million years, I say without stopping. You lasted 3 months. I walk past her. Into the elevator. Down to the basement. The war room is panic. The digital frontier kids are crying. Literally crying. One is curled up under a desk. I walk in. Everyone out, I say. Who are you? One of them asks. I'm the architect, I say. Get out unless you know C++, in which case, sit down and shut up. The room clears. I sit at my old desk. It's still warm. I open the terminals. Black screen, green text, beautiful. I check the logs. The new system has corrupted the database index. Classic. I kill the Nimbus process. Sudo kill -9. The dashboard in the hallway goes black. The chaotic refreshing stops. Silence returns. I pull up the backups from yesterday, my personal backups, because their cloud backups failed. I restore the database. I re-enable the CRL license key in the config file. I type the command /start legacy core sh. Enter. The fans on the rack spin up. The hum increases. A deep, resonant vibration. The screen floods with scrolling text. Initializing core. Loading tables. Optimization engine online. Latency 2 ms. Queue processing. 12:30 p.m. The phones stop ringing. The printers in the warehouse start chugging. The trucks start moving. The dashboard shows green. Not the pretty gradient green of Nimbus. The ugly neon 8-bit green of the CL. But it means money is being made. The CEO walks in. He looks at the screens. He looks at me. Is it fixed? It's working, I say. What was the problem? Complexity, I say. You tried to replace a suspension bridge with a hologram because the hologram looked prettier. He nods. It won't happen again. I know, I say, because I'm in charge now. What about the new interface? The customers like the look of it. I'll write a wrapper, I say. A lightweight API that feeds the data to a simple web page, no logic in the front end, just display. Can you do that? I can do anything, I say. As long as you leave me alone. Epilogue. 6 months later. I am still the director of engineering. I hired 2 of the digital frontier kids. The ones who knew C++. They are good kids. I'm teaching them how to manage memory manually. They think it's wizardry. Jessica is now a life coach on Instagram. The company's stock recovered. I paid off my mortgage. I bought a newer car. A 2010 Toyota. Let's not go crazy. The server room is still dark. The coffee is still black. The code is still ugly. But it works, and that's all that matters. Blame me. Watchman of the bits. All green lights. A life is good.